name is Amanda Uten. I'm 21 years old. I'm going to be a senior at Western Washington University, and this is my first summer as a theater management intern at Book It. The River Why was written by David James Duncan and published in 1983. Essentially, it's a coming-of-age story. It's about a young fisherman named Gus, and the story begins by focusing on his family, where he gets his passion for fishing, and then moves to Gus moving away from his family and living on his own in a secluded cabin, and just trying to figure out what he finds important and kind of how he wants to live his life, and you see him go through that journey. I think that The River Why will be a really good Book It production because the narrative style is so strong. Gus, the main character, has just a really good storytelling ability, and the book is full of him telling stories about his family and himself and all the people that he meets. And so I think that that strong narrative voice is going to translate really well onto Book It stage and is something that might be lost in a traditional adaptation. I think The River Why will appeal to younger audiences because the journey that Gus goes on to find meaning in his life and to figure out what's important to him is something that young people are faced with. Not exclusively, I mean, that journey can come at more than one stage of life, but I think that there's a pressure to know who you are pretty early on into your young adulthood, and that's really what Gus's story is about, that search and struggle for a meaningful existence. I think the audiences that come to the show are going to be in for quite a few laughs. I know that I got quite a few strange looks while I was reading this book in public just because I was laughing so often. The story is just full of really entertaining characters and situations. There's also a love story and lots of adventure, so I think that's all going to come together and make just a really entertaining show. What aspect of the book do you think is going to be most challenging to put on stage?
Well, I think there's two things. One is the fact that so much of the book is in Gus's head. So he does a lot of thinking and observing, and there's a lot of philosophy. So part of the adaptation process is sort of filtering out, but without sacrificing the overall quality of the fabulous writing. And then obviously putting a river on stage and having fly fishing happen on stage is quite, it'll be a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the things I'm most looking forward to.
What do you think will make a production of The River Why appeal to younger audiences, specifically, teens through early 20s?
Well, the lead is a teen. He's 18, 19, starts off at around 16. And he goes through what every teenager, all of us have done, which is you think your parents are the weirdest creatures on the planet, and he can't wait to get out. So he does, and he goes and he lives by himself in a cabin by the river in the mountains to do what he wants to do. And there's also the quest for love. And Gus is such a loner that he doesn't know really how to relate to other kids his age. And so there's that arc for him as well. It's funny. There is a lot of funny material in this. He makes fun of himself, he makes fun of the people around him, and there is no question that the young audiences or the young adult audiences are going to love this, as well as the adults.